There is this story that a farmer found the egg of an eagle. He took the egg, put it right together with all the other chicken eggs, and he had one of the hens that was brooding. So the hen was brooding, and it takes its time, and soon one chick comes out, and another chick comes out, and there hatches this small little eaglet too. Well, the eaglet is in the chicken yard and just behaves like a chicken because that's what the eaglet knew. That was all the eaglet knew. So the eaglet scratched like a chicken and pecked like a chicken and quacked like a chicken, and the eagle was just a chicken. Well, one day, there was an eagle circling way up in the sky. The eaglet looked up and asked the other chickens, "Who is that?" Well, the chicken told him, "That's an eagle. That's the king of the sky. But you know what? Don't mind. We're chickens. We're to stay here." Well, that's how the eaglet stayed in the chicken yard. Year after year, the eagle was born a chicken, the eagle lived as a chicken, and the eagle died as a chicken. Where and how are you and we all invited to look at who God meant us to be, to spread our wings, to take flight, to be pulled out of that confining, out of that limiting reality, and soar, my friends, reach our potential? Where and how are you called? Not just to behave like a chicken with all the other chicken, but go deeper inside and look and tune into what God is calling you to be. And in that sense, Easter, my friends, it's not one day. Easter is a season. Every single Sunday is Easter. Actually, every single day is Easter as the sun rises and we turn to the sun and we are being raised to new life. We're being raised to new life. That's the message when Jesus gathered with his friends, with his disciples, and Lazarus has died. And Lazarus, Mary, and Martha, they were the three siblings. And Jesus was just a good friend with them. Jesus loved them all. Mary, Martha, Zacharias. Not Zacharias. Is it Lazarus? Yeah. Yeah, you see, some pay attention. Lazarus. Yeah. Well, and what do you do when a good friend dies? Well, you're grieving, and that's what Jesus does. And it's one of these stories that warms my heart because I can see reflected in the scripture how Jesus feels with all of those who are grieving. It says Jesus cried. What do we do when we experience a loss, when someone dies, someone who is close to us? Our small losses, our bigger losses. We feel the sadness and we're grieving. And then the comment from the crowd who is observing Jesus that he is crying, they say, "Look how much he loved him." You hear that? That grief is an expression of love. It is so hard because you love so much. The crowd says, "Look how much he loved him," because he's tearing up. So whenever you're grieving, whatever losses you're grieving, it's an expression of love. And it's good to stay with that and feel that deep love that also can hurt. So they see Jesus. Jesus is concerned. Jesus is weeping. He's crying. And he's also upset. It says in the Greek original, it says his spirit is revulsing. He's unsettled. And then Jesus goes to the tomb, and this is one of the very traditional tombs in a rock, hewn into the rock, carved out of stone, and the big boulder, round rock, rolled in front of the tomb entrance. And Jesus says, well, roll the rock away, open the door basically. And Jesus goes there. And he calls in and says, Lazarus, come out. Imagine Jesus is calling to you. Come out from what constrains you. Come out from what clips your wings. Come out from what keeps you too tight. Come out from your confinement, from your straitjacket. Just come out of there. Think of what that feels like. What holds you back? What weighs on you? What is it that kind of you feel constrained? Are these the expectations of others? Do you think like, how do I come across? How do I fit in? What is it that holds you back, that ties you down? What is that skin, like the snake skin, that is too tight and too narrow for you? What is that cocoon, that tomb, that chrysalis out of which you need to break out or are called to break out? Jesus is calling to you and says, Terry, come out. Sam, come out. Alan, come out. Kathy, come out. Rick, come out. Anne, come out. Can you hear the voice of Jesus calling you? Shed your skin. Come out. Get up. Rise into that new life that I am meant to give you. That is the Easter experience, my friend. Coming out of that tomb, that cocoon, that confining, that limiting, constraining straitjacket, shackles. Leave it behind and hatch just like a butterfly. We used to have chickens growing up, and we had the hens, and the hens laid eggs and they brooded, and then we could see the little chicks. And recently, when I walked to Tractor Supply, get some stuff for the garden, they have these huge bins with the little chicks. I love to stop by just to see the chicks. It's just beautiful, just a delight. Now, when they're still in the egg, you don't see a thing, yet something is gestating, something is growing. And I think that's like it is with us, with our spiritual lives, with our own being. Something is growing, a new life in us is growing. The life of the Spirit, the life of freedom of our greater selves, of the eagle part in us that is to soar. Yet, we're still confined in an egg, just like a chick that is not set free yet. And it needs its time, it needs its warmth, it needs its care, it needs its affirmation, all the warmth, soaking it all up from the mama chicken until it's ready, and then it will start pecking from inside and making room, and then it's cracking, and that's when it hatches and emerges. I think that's a little bit how it happens with us. I've seen it in some grown people happen. Like a 70-year-old lady, looking back over the last few years of her life, she said, you know, Pastor, it was not easy, but I found my voice, and you could hear it from a deeper part in her resonating. When previously she felt more like confined and listening and ducking and thinking, what do other people think, or how do I fit in, or how do I keep my head down? And there was a freedom that came in her where you could see it, she stood straighter, she found her voice, her true self, her true identity, because she was nurtured, because she was cared for, lifted up, and she came out of her shell. She came out. Jesus calls us out from where we are. Jesus calls us out from what confines us, from what holds us back, to live into our true identity, who we are meant to be, and not hide that. But that is what every one of us has to offer to the world, our true selves, who we are meant to be. Now, St. Paul, we have just heard the scripture from Romans and chapter 8. He describes it all as a process of giving birth. That all the frustration, all the limitations, all the squeezing, all the weight, all the worries, all that is going on, he compares it to labor pain. I was with Sigrid, my wife, in the delivery room. I tell you, I don't remember a lot about that. And I have no idea what it must have been like for her. And neither did Paul know a lot when he wrote to the Romans in his letter. But there is something happening in the process of being born, of giving birth, that is beyond what you can describe. It's just the edges depart. The painful, the frustration, you work with the pain, it's messy, you reach your wits' ends. You're not in your head anymore because you can make sense of it. It's the whole body experience. And in and through that, new life is born. In and through that, we're being pulled into our new reality. It may be messy. It's never an easy process. It's never easy to shed your skin. The snake is most vulnerable when it sheds its skin. Those chicks are very vulnerable when they hatch. Same for butterflies. They need time to spread their wings, for the sun to dry their wings before they take flight. So we all experience those limitations, yet are we staying with the process? Are we in it and inviting the living one to draw us into new life? Now, thank God for our children, they were not stuck in there. They came out somehow, some way when they were born. But for some children, they need birth helpers. They need help to be born, whether it's cesarean section or whatever it takes. And sometimes we may need some intervention, and hopefully there are some people around us to help us and nurture us, and in that process of being born and raised into the new life which we're meant to live. So Easter, it's not one day. Easter, it's a season. Easter, it's each and every day where we are squeezed and pushed and invited and pulled into a new life. What holds you back from buying into that new life that you're to be born into?